I'm in a weird place with Disney right now. Ever since The Princess and the Frog came out, people have been claiming that it's going through its second, third, fourth, whatever, renaissance, and while I wholeheartedly agree that we're being far more consistent in quality than we were, say, a decade ago, I don't think that the me from that time period would even believe you for a second if you told him that Zootopia would be his favorite movie out of Disney's current onslaught. Granted, I may need some more time to think about that classification. I'm not entirely sure how much it outclasses Wreck-It Ralph, although I know I like it marginally more than Frozen and far more than marginally more than Big Hero 6. But let's be real, out of all the Disney movies that we knew were coming far in advance, who looked at this one and thought it would be anything to write home about? Well, outside of the obvious. When the teaser for this film came out, my response was that of most people, i.e. confusion as to why Disney was marketing a talking animal movie as if it were some groundbreaking new concept. The other trailers showed us more of the actual story we'd be getting, but even then those didn't really grab me. Having now seen the movie, I can only sympathize with Disney, as I can't imagine how I would have marketed this movie if I were in their position. Believe me when I say that in terms of the animated canon, Zootopia is probably the realest movie that we've gotten out of Disney since Lilo and Stitch over a decade ago. And considering that that movie is my all-time favorite of theirs, that can only ever be a good sign. Like that movie, Zootopia is far more interested in talking about a relatable issue through its fantastical concepts than it is with just flooding the screen with slapstick and animal humor, which by all appearances is what separates it from all the other CG talking animal movies that are coming out this year. Not judging those movies till they come out, it's just that unimpressive marketing seems to be a running trend amongst talking animal joints. Zootopia is unabashedly about race relations, set in a world where predator and prey live together in seemingly perfect harmony, yet animals regularly suffer from stereotyping or discrimination based on their species. It's quite a bit reminiscent of Cats Don't Dance, except whereas in that film the animals coexisted with humans and were clearly representative of ethnic minorities in the golden age of Hollywood, Zootopia is broad and clever enough that you could look at a facet and read into it any group that suffers prejudice. Our main character, for example, is a bunny named Judy Hopps, who just wants to be a police officer in the titular city, whose coda of anyone can be anything is at best a surface-level comfort to the numerous disenfranchised citizens who are either too big, too small, too predacious, or not predacious enough to be what they really want or even warrant equal treatment. With hard work, Hopps gets the job, but is barely taken seriously as a cop, and when a missing persons case that she stakes her career on comes up, she enlists the helps of a streetwise fox named Nick Wilde to assist. The dynamic between these two main characters is golden, not only because they have a really palpable chemistry and excellent voice performances by Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman, but because Hopps' own deeply rooted judgments about Nick display just how not one-sided the issue of prejudice is. Every character in the movie presents a different viewpoint on the subject, which is commendable considering that given this setup, it would have been really easy to have everyone but the main characters share the same simple worldview and make a movie that was still passable. But instead we've got resigned cynicism on one side, innocent obliviousness on another, apathy here, spiteful acceptance of the system there, cautiously idealistic desire for change, individuals who really just need to work through some personal issues, and Chief Bogo, played by Idris Elba, who you genuinely aren't sure roadblocks Judy out of prejudice or just because she's new to the police force. No one seems like they're just there to fill up time or make the numbers, the two big exceptions being the sloth scene and the nudist colony scene that are in all the trailers. Those are the only two times that the movie seems to be taking a detour for the sake of a laugh, and outside of those moments, every bit seems necessary for the sake of the story. Speaking of the jokes, let's talk about that for a bit. The humor in this movie is really clever, but at the same time it's best not to go in expecting a laugh riot. I found it funnier than something like Big Hero 6, which tried and failed to make me laugh hard and often. But there are surprisingly few puns or sight gags or slapstick moments in Zootopia. If the humor isn't coming from arguably strange but thankfully not obnoxious pop cultural references and in-jokes, it's coming from clever dialogue and callbacks. The film is surprisingly more down-to-earth and straightforward tonally than you'd expect from a talking animal feature, and with some story tweaks this could easily be a completely straight, non-animated buddy cop film. It's a good thing it wasn't though, because in terms of animation it's about as good looking as anything Disney's ever done. What I particularly liked were the shadows and the lighting. That's not something I normally notice with anything that isn't 2D animated, but it was really effective in almost every scene. If you haven't gotten the point by now, Zootopia is good. Really good. If you're the type of person who goes for Disney movies, then there's absolutely no reason that you should skip it. And if you're the type of person who looks at a talking animal movie and thinks it's just for little kids and no one else, then this one might just turn you around. We're all furries now, and there's no turning back.